Mm. Hello, everybody. It's Larry. It's Leetcode Weekly Contest 168. Uh, yeah, so I have 30 seconds to get ready. Wish me luck. Hit the like and subscribe if you like. The other head, Larry, will kind of give commentary during the contest. Let me know what you think in the comments, uh, just so that I know if I will continue to do these. But we have 10 seconds, so I'm going to get ready. Yeah, so I open all the problems because that's how you solve them. As soon as I saw this, I was like, oh, find numbers of even number of digits. That sounds pretty straightforward. I look at the problems, and unfortunately, I was in PHP from my previous kind of playing around. That cost me a couple of seconds, which is not a big deal, but I knew exactly what to do immediately. I could probably have done it one liner, but I just didn't even think about it. I was just like, okay, let's crank at this and just get it out. This is pretty straightforward. I even ran the code real quick, but I didn't even want the second one. I was pretty confident about it. Divide array in sets of k consecutive numbers. So I knew this one right off the bat as well. Um, the idea is, I feel like I've seen some things similar recently, and that's why. But the idea is that, and I had to spend an extra couple of seconds kind of proving this to myself. But again, PHP. But I need to set that up before next contest. But yeah, I just put everything in a hash table. Is what I try to do. I was like, do I need to sort it? Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. But I'm gonna put everything in a hash table and just kind of go through it that way. Kind of keep track of each item, and then just check in a greedy way. And I did end up sorting it, I think. In a greedy way, just take the smallest number, and if and then check the n plus 1, n plus 2, all the way to n plus k, or n plus k minus 1 maybe. But yeah, and that's essentially what I did. Took a couple of minutes. I just wanted to make sure. I was thinking a little bit about, and this in first glance may feel like O of n times k, but you actually only process each of the number once, either from a previous row or just like the current row. So it's actually O of n plus k, I suppose. Um, so it's amortized O of n, or it's O of n, but amortized O of 1 for each element. So with that, I got right to it. Here, oh yeah, here I was like, I guess I didn't sort this yet, but I was like, oh, do I need to kind of figure out a way to, do this in a good way? And I think I need to end up sorting it. So yeah. And obviously checking that it is greater than 0. And if you can make a sequence, then, so this is pretty much a greedy algorithm. Um, I was like, do I need to do anything else? No, I think I'm okay. But I did end up sorting it. Oh yeah, I did have a sort on top. Sorry. And then here I'm just a little bit less confident than the last one. So putting in the test cases again, Leetcode kind of makes that a little bit more difficult than it needed to be. I wish they could at least just make it copy and pasteable in a way that I don't have to like edit the input. Here I was like relatively confident. So I submit, and I think this is my fastest 2 problem submit so far in my contest career. Unfortunately, it's not meant to be this contest because for this problem, I think I was thinking about a couple of different lines. I was like, well, I mean, with n is equal to 100,000, I immediately knew that it was going to be um, I immediately knew that was going to be some kind of sliding window. I was wondering if I could have gone. I think at this point I was just thinking whether I could do one sliding window or like, do I need one for each size? Um, I think given that max number of letters is, or max size, I think is like 26. Um, I was like, okay, at worst it's going to be 26 times n, which is 2.6 million. It should be fast enough. So I kind of did it that way. Um, Unfortunately, I mean, and you can see my thought process. I don't think it's a little exhausting to kind of see. Well, I mean, I think right now I'm still reading. I'm still going over in my head the different ways. I mean, I knew how to do it with one item, like in general, but I was just kind of think whether I can optimize it and whether I need to optimize, which is, you know, which maybe you could do if you're smart, but I was worried a little bit about the complexity. Yeah, and right now I'm just, but that's pretty much this problem. I really don't have that much of an insight. I made a lot of silly mistakes. Um, Mostly, I mean, I talk about this a little bit later, but my big one is kind of the complexity of, or my unfamiliarity with Python. Um, Still have to get better about string or substring subscript type things. I keep on getting off by once. It's a short story. I'm too used to, because my difference is that in Python, uh, it's a start to end and not the length. Where for the slices, maybe someone could leave a comment on maybe someone could leave a comment on how I could be a little bit better. But where like in C++, which is something that I'm more familiar with and maybe should have changed once I was hitting issues, is starting position and then the length, right? Which for me is more intuitive for my years of doing it. But as a result, I did have her off by one, but because I was had to kill it, but it took me a long time to debug. But the idea is still the same. We just try for every size. We keep a sliding window of kind of the number of max letters, and then we keep it on a counter, and then we just keep going. So yeah, I'm gonna skip ahead. There will be a link so that you could jump to the next farm. But if you could watch this agonizing, I don't know, half an hour, but I took a long time on this. Uh, Hmm. I don't. It's been so long on this one. Hmm. Why? Can't do rolling window. Sliding window. My nemesis. Back to it. Yeah. So I gave up on that problem for a little bit. I spent over 24 minutes on that off by one. I read this problem. It felt like I don't have a great intuitive sense. I mean, I thought I did okay on this one. Um, Given that I actually end up spending probably about 7 minutes on this problem, plus like 2 minutes of copy and pasting the input for testing. But I got the intuition that just reading it, scanning it, and reading the example. I actually had a little bit of an issue reading the example because this is like you have to scroll to the right to finish reading it. So I was very confused by the first example, and that kind of took me some time. But it reminded me of one of those. It gave me a feeling around like minimum spanning tree type thing, where like okay, uh, is it like something like Prim's out, except for that you always like just want to get more candies, and it's actually now that I think about it, it's like slowly, yeah, like one of the minimum spanning tree algorithms where you start with the initial boxes, I think Prims, and then you kind of slowly expand, add edges that are relevant through different conditions, um, and then at the end, yeah, what is the
Why do
yeah,
they
and then
do this?
you have these conditions, or maybe it's like more of a DAG, and then you could have also used union find for this or something like this, for example. But that's the general idea, and all you and in that idea, if you remember Prims or minimum spanning tree algorithms in general, is that the core part of that algorithm is greedy, right? Um, and uh, and that's essentially what I did, right? And with greedy, you could keep a sort of a global state on stuff. And what I did was I keep a global state of the boxes I have and the keys that I have, because I could only like it's always optimal or like it's free. Once you have a key in a box, just open it, right? So and then from that, um, that's all you really need, I think. And I end up at this point, there was just a lot of reading. I was confused about that problem. So now looking at it, I spent about 2-3 minutes reading this, but I think I knew what I wanted to implement immediately. Is like what I said, what I described. However, I think I was not feeling comfortable with this problem only in the sense that like there's a lot of reading. So I was worried that I may be off by one like rule or something. And here, yeah, I thought I would do some like relaxation thing where like okay, if we keep on adding new boxes, just keep on going. But then I thought a little bit about how to because you could check it in both ways. Maybe it would be because actually because you have all of n boxes n equals 1,000 boxes, and 1,000 boxes, each of these boxes can only be relaxed once. So you only and each of those does less at most O of n operations, right? So that's like n squared even at the worst case, or like in terms of checking. So I knew that was going to run in time because that's just a million. That's fine, even on Python. but um, but I instead I implemented using a queue instead just in case, so that I don't know. I think it's just more intuitive, and so that I could kind of keep track more quickly. But maybe there's more mental calculations. I'm not quite sure how I feel about that for now, but it did end up working. So that was great. Um, but yeah, here I'm just reading a lot more. Like we're giving so many inputs that I'm you know that I just want to make sure that like I'm reading them correctly at every time. Um, but here, yeah, here I'm like, okay, if I am given a key, then just take it. Like when we relax, you always want that key, so then we add it to the global key state that we could check upon later. And so, and now, yeah, we also just check all the boxes that we have as well. If you have a box, just put it in. Also in the global box. So I think overall I probably spent in like about 12 minutes on problem 1, 2, and 4, but spent the rest of the 54 minutes, like 40 minutes on problem 2 due to an off by 1 and plus 10 minutes penalty. So that was 80% of my problems, unfortunately. But you know, consistency means that you have to continue to do well regardless of you know, these excuses. So gotta do better. And yeah, and I think I'm just double checking a little bit. I probably should also take the time to copy the source code a little bit, but I mean the test cases a little bit, but not a big deal. And now, yeah, 36 minutes in. I'm just typing. I think it's good because I definitely missed a condition where, well, one was that I don't. Yeah, I tried to open the same box multiple times in different cases. I just need to double check that when we're done with a box, we don't need to open it again. I didn't really look at the inputs on this one to see why that happened. To be honest, I'm not sure why. I think we just checked the same thing multiple times. Again, because we don't dedupe check. So during the same loop, I think we might have done it, but that's fine. Not a big deal. And then and I submit, and that's pretty much it. Oh, I think I just wanted to double check my printing. I mean, double check my code by printing, and I noticed that it did confirm what I thought it would, which is that we're checking multiple values. So that's, yeah, we just have to check that we don't relax the same things that we've done before, and that's it. I think, hopefully, pretty sure. And there you have. Oh, yeah. Well, was a little confused a little bit, but my input I just had left some random junk in there. That's why. It's fine. Just to make sure that is right. But yeah, I mean, I think in terms of my coding, I feel like for this one, I feel like I was okay, but I didn't have that much confidence that I read everything correctly, because there's a lot of stuff to read and there are a lot of inputs. But here I was like, okay, let's just submit. It seems okay. A lot of people have submitted correctly already by this point. So yeah, and I got accepted. And I'm like, well, okay, back to this annoying problem. Let's check the score real quick. People finished in 18 minutes.
Just on.
That was sad, but and yeah. So I try. So back to problem 3. I try to do the thing where well, let's just put everything in a deck. Let's restart. But ultimately, that timed out, I guess, because using a deck probably took too long, and that's probably true. Especially the way I was doing it, I was constructing a string a lot. I was worried about it before submission, but I just was having a lot of issues with off by one. But ultimately, I did find out where my off by one was, so hopefully, maybe I'll learn for next time. In general, with these things, you're here to learn, and I think hopefully I'll get better and more consistent and more familiar with Python in general. I think I'm just substrings and off by ones have been my nemesis, so it's something that perhaps I will practice a little bit more in the future. So yeah. Anyway, okay. I mean, you could watch to the end. It'll be fast forward, but I think I end up it took me another 10, 15 minutes to solve this, which is really sad. Plus the 10 minutes penalty for submissions. So yeah. I mean, they'll be next week, right? Anyway, well, there are a lot of links. You could jump around and get as many Larrys as you want, but cool.
That's what I was worried about. It's one of those days. Can't get a medium. What happened to the huge case? Oh, jeez. Just can't get over this off by one. This isn't for the last one. It's not off by 1. This one should be 3. I'll bring up a different case. off by once. I can't believe it. I did farm 4 pretty quickly too. Oh well. And with 2 penalties. Not a disaster. Yeah, I just had a, I would say that is my issue with Python right now. Like my personal issue, is that I'm really bad at these string off by ones, especially like these things. Because I feel like I feel like I'm too used to C++ with this is the length for something. So is that right? Did I make that up? Substring. Yeah, we're like this is the before and this is the length. So I'm always like off by 1 about it, and that kind of cost me this entire contest. That was really fast. I even got. I mean, I knew what to do with this one even, but I just had silly mistakes. And problem 4, I don't remember the timing because I don't know when I gave up. But you could, but you know, you'll kind of see in the post-mortem or whatever. But yeah, just unfortunate. Okay, let's go over the problems real quick, and then we'll see. Overall, I could obviously could have done better, but not a great contest in general. Oh, I guess it went up because of the submission, but like I had a really fast 1 and 2, and I just didn't get it. This one, you know, because I will check over on the timing on number 4, but yeah, well, that'll be afterwards. Find numbers of even number of digits. So this was straightforward. Could probably even get it in a 1 line if you want, but yeah, I mean this is straightforward. You just count the number of digits it has, and if it's even, you increment. I was super confident about this one. That's why I got in 38 seconds. Someone got in 14 seconds. So that's, I thought I would be near the top on that one, but still not the number 1. It was 14 seconds. I guess he didn't even bother testing it, or she. And I was in the fun for farm 2. What's number 2? Oh, did I arrays instead of k consecutive numbers? Yeah, so in this case, I mean, I have a for loop that looks kind of weird. It looks like it's the numbers by n times k. But actually, because each n can be used only once or maybe twice for checking, it's only like O of n. The n is linear in nature. So I was able to do that real quick. This one, I mean, I had it really quickly. I just had a lot of typos, off by ones. My arch nemesis in a different row. This would be it. But yeah, it's just a rolling window. You keep track as you roll left and right. I was trying to think if I could have been a little bit more clever, but it turns out I don't think so. Or at least it was not necessary because I just have to range between this. So because then it's just at most, because each of these will cost take O of n, so there's at most 26 of these, so it would be 26, oh sorry, 2.6 million at most. I was hoping the deck version works, but it is what it is. See, the first time I submitted was 38 minutes ago, so if I had gotten it, I mean, even then I was pretty slow, so we'll see. Overall, sadness, but maybe I need more practice in general. Python substrings I'm always a little off by, so yeah, and I left a print statement in there actually because I was just so frustrated. I could have actually seen myself being time limited, but I don't know. Was tired. Maybe I should have used C++ for that reason, because then yeah, maybe I mean, you know, in retrospect, but that's just my familiarity with the language and not anything about Python or C++, to be honest. But I did reset me coding this twice, so okay. maximum candies you can get from boxes. Yeah, I mean, I think of it kind of like a sort of. I actually wasn't super confident when I submitted this. I don't actually remember how long I ended up taking, but uh, it's just kind of like a search, a sort of a. I would say it's like it reminds me a little bit of like Costco's algorithm, where you have all these edges and you have these conditions to add them, and you just have to check them a couple of times. Because n is 1,000, you only relax each each box maybe 2 or 3 times, even if you were like a little bit careless. As a result, maybe actually I should have changed this into a set as well. But so it's like roughly n square, which apparently runs fast enough because of the way it converges. I think for me it was just kind of just worried that about one is time limited and two is just carelessness because there are a lot of conditions. And that's just the key part about getting this part right. But yeah, overall, I mean, I did very fast on 3 of the 4 problems. Unfortunately, consistency means all four, and sliding window is a pretty common thing that I needed to get right. Maybe I should have took this strategy of just doing the last first, so at least I could get on the board. But overall, probably going to finish, especially with the 10 minutes penalty, probably going to finish about 300, which is another kind of probably rating going down a little bit. But yeah, it happens. I just have to be more consistent about it and practice Python a little bit more. I think I've been thinking a little bit too much in C++. But yeah, check out the code review in a couple of minutes. Thanks. Hello. The contest just ended. So this is my favorite portion, which is code review, where you get to learn, right? It's kind of good. I don't think I finished 235th. Let me refresh real quick because I think the Chinese servers are merging in at some point. So we'll see what my ranking is. Hopefully it's top something or not as low. But yeah, so the first one, I mean, I did it in 38 seconds. So I don't think I'm going to need to read, but 14 seconds is even shorter. So we did actually essentially the same thing. So, but they typed it 24 seconds faster than I did. So yeah, I don't think I need to review that much. Everyone pretty much mostly did the same. I guess this is the only other way. It's just actual writing for loops for 5 minutes, really. I guess they just didn't submit it because it doesn't matter. But and then the second problem, same. Well, actually, maybe there's some learnings here. Yeah, I mean, I think this is the same idea, but it did try to find the. I don't know. Actually, that's a little not easy to read. For problem two, yeah, here they did the same thing. We did essentially. Set being that it's ordered, so that gets them to a structure that allows them to keep on doing this. But yeah. What the ASCII art? Yeah, the same idea in this case, I guess. Not easy to read though. Yeah. What is this? Okay, I mean, same thing, I suppose, except that he does X of them in parallel, which makes sense, actually. So there's something that I could have improved there. The third one, see, what's the easy way? Okay. This is in Python, so it's something that, you know. So he did it actually in one loop. Maybe. Well, I mean, clearly 2 loops, but maybe it's the same. It's just that but he does use the use the rolling. He takes advantage of the rolling window more than I do for sure. But still, again, way unfortunate. But oh, and this is a smarter way do it maybe. Actually, I thought about doing something like that, but you have to keep track for the rolling window the number of items in each one. But overall, like they did it in a couple of minutes, so the code is maybe not necessarily going to be perfect, but I like that he uses whatchamacallit, a sort of a rolling hash to kind of figure out the best things. So so that it's cheaper for him to do the rolling window instead of hashing the string. Definitely a good optimization. Didn't need it, but you never know at certain times. I mean, I time limited, so what do I know? This is what this is probably closer to what I want it to do, but so yeah, I mean, I just didn't think this would run in time, but because for each character it does it, so it's not, this is less a rolling window, more like for each eye, just do from J to max size, which I didn't think that would run in time, but I guess it did. That's kind of good. Yeah. That one problem destroyed my contest. I mean, even if I spend, like, because I end up spending 7 minutes on this one, I had, like, if I just finished this even in 20 minutes, I would have been in the top 25, right? So, well, with no errors, obviously. But some contests, it's just not meant to be. Well, maybe I did like 8 minutes, or maybe closer to 10, say. So I had 14 minutes. So 14 minutes you could add, I don't know, I could have been way high if I, if I did that one better. But it is what it is. Let me look at this one. Yeah, and then the last one, I think all the code is just gonna be the same-ish. Yeah, I mean, well, this is very tight though, obviously. Did that one in 8 minutes-ish, maybe. But yeah, same thing that I initially did with the done loop, and that you could just keep track of all the boxes. Yeah, so basically, every time, like, hey, I have all these boxes, and then check whether you can add new boxes. And if you can, you keep going and so forth. Also pretty reasonable, I think. And there's some implicit checking that I didn't do as a result, or didn't need it, I guess. Yeah, overall, I mean, overall, I had a good contest. I think if I didn't had problem C, which is an obvious like whatever, but yeah, I mean, I think that also gives me a focus on something to practice on. So I think this is the final ranking, 286 out of 5,500, which is, I mean, on 3 problems, I was really good, and on a medium one, I was not so good. Even if I spent 20 minutes, I would have been, I don't know, say 44 minutes of this, so like 20 minutes. No, that math doesn't work out. But yeah, I mean, even if I was at like 30 minutes, I've been top 25. So, I mean, you live and you learn, you get better. I mean, these people are up here, yes, because they're very good, but also because they're very consistent, right? So, oh, again, with the hash, well played. With, what's it called? Carbon, Robin Corp. Carbon. Okay, cool. Well, it's been kind of a down week in terms of competitive programming for me, but end of year, maybe these things will happen. So so I do hope to keep on learning and maybe focus on my weaknesses, and then keep do better next week. Anyway, until then, thanks for tuning in. I'll see y'all next week.